Okay, we're starting a new one called Sculpt3D. It's on Strata.com. And I think this is probably pretty friendly for Mac users and PC users because you sculpt right on their website. There's no download. So you go to the Strata homepage, or at least the Sculpt3D homepage at Strata. And there's a button here that says Start Using Sculpt3D Now. You just click on that and it comes up. And really it's already there, ready to sculpt. I like to get rid of that grid. You could keep it on there if it helps you. So I'll go to scene and I'll get rid of the grid. Um, you could change the material, but that's probably, I'll go over that in a later video. For now, to get started, all you need to go to is the sculpting and painting section and tool. There's a top line and there's a drop down menu with the different tools. And so we'll go through some of those tools. Probably the tool that you'll use the most is the top one called brush. Now, when you're using a tool, there's different things you can control. The size of the tool. Right here, you could dial it up, smaller. So it gives you, let's see, it's on clay right now. Clay gives you a flattened, you can see it gives you a flat kind of a form that builds out. Some people might like that. I prefer not. I like a rounded, uh, I like it a little more rounded like that. You can use Control Z to undo steps. So I clicked off clay. The top two is the size of the brush. Dial it up here. Intensity, the strength of the brush. So if you want it to be subtle, you'll have it low. If you want it to be really powerful, you have it up high. You know, definitely somewhere from the middle to the low end, I would say, most of the time. Right now it's on the positive. If we click on a negative, it should give more of a depression. It'll do the opposite. So each tool generally has two modes, a positive and a negative. So let's go to inflate. Inflate works best if you dial up the size of the tool. It gives you, it looks like it's really kind of inflating at that point. Otherwise, if it's small tool, it's more like the first brush tool. It doesn't really do a lot. Now if you do the negative, you can deflate it. Let's make the size of that tool bigger. Okay, so when this happens, the mesh is kind of collapsing on itself, and that's just kind of a mess. So what I do to get rid of is I'll use the smooth tool, and that cleans it up right there. Smooth tool is if you get a lot of crinkles or it's not very flowing surface, you can smooth it out with the smooth tool. Flatten, let's try flatten. Strength is up pretty high, or the size is there. Okay, whoa. Let's take the strength down a little bit there. Maybe that tool size is a little tall, big. All right. Yeah, it's probably good for certain applications. Probably use it mostly as a smaller tool, and the strength not so much. So you could just kind of like creep up on what you want rather than just immediately wash out what you're doing. Crease tool is pretty nice. So there, if it's on negative, you're getting a kind of a furrow. If you have it on negative off, you'll get a peak. Okay, and usually it works pretty well for the mouth. So you can and then if you want, let's see, we could go back to the brush tool, have it on positive, Have the size a little bit smaller. You can make those lips a little fuller. Do some lips at the bottom here. And I guess we should do a nose too. All right. Transform will move the piece. So the arrows move it. The circles, well, that was a scale tool apparently. So the outside ring is a scale tool within it's a global scale tool. But these inside should tilt it. But these blocks will change the proportion of it, the dimension of it. So you can do that. Let's see that. I'm not clicking on the ins. There we go. So you can control those proportions. And drag, you could kind of mess around with it. Pull these forms out a little bit. That's weird, it did an asymmetry. I didn't even click on symmetry. Let's take the symmetry off. So when you take the symmetry off, you could do one side, but you can click back and still, let's take a different tool. You can still go back and forth between symmetry and asymmetry. So give it a shot, see what you think about it. Put some time in, practice. Just don't have any idea of what you want to make. Just invent weird things.